So how does a bare frame turn into a full car? What you're about to see is the full build process, step by step. First, a build sheet gets slapped onto the body. It shows the model, features, and every part that needs to be added. Then, a support rod props up the hood, so other parts can be installed more easily down the line. Next, a cloth soaked with 30% alcohol is used to clean the trunk lid. Then, springs are added to both sides to hold it open. If you want it to pop up by itself, a gas strut gets added too. 5 rubber plugs are pushed into the trunk lid's edge to seal up extra holes, keeping moisture out and rust away. Then, a guide fixture helps place the rear emblems. On the left goes the brand badge. On the right, the model and engine info. This one's a 1.5-liter turbo Jetta. Even though it sticks with strong adhesive, a roller presses the badge down tight so it stays put for years. Next up is the underhood insulation pad. It cuts down engine noise and helps block heat. Once the trunk lid and logo are on, higher trims get a chrome strip along the edge. It adds some style and helps the rear stand out. Plus, it reflects light better on dark roads. That chrome piece also gets pressed down with a roller. This combo of strong glue and tight pressing is why factory badges last so long. Now, time to use a rivet gun to install the license plate anchors. Why not just weld in some nuts? Because the panel is thin. Rivets are a better fit here. Over on the right side of the front cowl, a sound pad gets stuck on. Meanwhile, workers loosen the door hinge bolts and stuff sound foam into the front pillars. The doors get removed and sent to another line to install the inner parts. Once ready, they'll be reattached later. Back to the body. Rubber seals are pressed into all 4 door frames. They're carefully placed along the edges to avoid wrinkles. Then, small alignment pins are tightened onto both front pillars to help with the dashboard install later. The door latch rings are tightened using a 3-step method to avoid scratching anything. Pro tip: if your door feels off, adjusting the latch ring often fixes it. After that, the rear trunk latch post is tightened with the same method. Then, rubber dampers go into both sides of the hood to help cut vibration. The door seals get another round of rolling. Do not mess with these seals on your own. Without special tools, it's easy to cause leaks. Another worker installs a vibration strip inside the hood. Then, a mesh bug screen is mounted under the cowl and fastened with 3 nuts. This stops bugs or critters from sneaking into the cabin through the air vents. 2 more sound pads are added in the cowl. Out back, the trunk seal goes on, just like the door seals. If your trunk ever leaks, it's probably because this rubber strip wore out or tore. Up front, a transmission brace gets installed. It cuts noise, absorbs vibration, and protects the transmission. Since the bolts need lots of torque, a robot arm helps an electronic wrench get the job done right. For accuracy, bolts are tightened in a crisscross pattern to avoid warping. No scuff marks left behind. Next, trunk sound pads go onto the wheel housings. The trunk seal is pressed down again. The little clips inside deform slightly to grip tight against the metal. Then comes the shark fin antenna. It handles multiple signals. Some even say it can cut fuel use by 3%. Next, the sunroof seal gets installed. The rubber strip is pressed along the sunroof's edge. It uses 3M adhesive. First, peel the red liner, then press it down tight with a roller. The next worker sets up the VIN printer. Pressing the button prints the vehicle identification number directly onto the frame. It's like the car's fingerprint, one of a kind and protected by law. At the same time, the hood latch hooks get installed. After that, the main fuel line goes in. It's routed through the right frame rail, and a rubber mallet helps tap the black fuel pipe support into place. On the left side, a rivet nut goes into the front pillar. Then the hood release cable is threaded through a hole and out the frame. Some sealant closes up the hole and locks the cable in. Another worker brushes away the leftover metal from the VIN print. 2 barcodes are stamped next. They'll be used for registration. They're sealed in a bag and stuck inside the right front fender. Then 3M adhesive seals up the VIN area since the paint there is exposed. If not sealed well, it could rust. At this point, the fuel pipe support is double-checked and tightened with an electronic wrench. A heat shield gets added to the cowl to block engine heat from reaching the cabin. The rear latch base goes on next. Once it's lined up with the welded post, it's tightened with an electronic wrench and covered up. Next station, a drain valve body goes into the front pillar, followed by 2 brackets. A drain hose gets fed through the valve and clipped to the brackets. If this line leaks, water can end up in the cabin. Before running the rear pillar drain pipe, 3 metal clips are attached. Then the pipe is threaded through a hole into the trunk area and clipped into the mounts. A noise damper is added after that. Inside, the airbag control module is installed. First, 2 nuts come off. The module is dropped onto the studs and 1 nut is tightened with an electronic wrench. The other 2 go back on right after. This module reads crash signals and triggers the airbags if needed. Next, 2 metal brackets are loosely mounted on the rear pillars. These are for the head curtain airbags that will go in later. Time for the sunroof unit. This Jetta uses a Webasto system with high-end glass from Saint-Gobain. A robot lifts the sunroof, lines it up with the roof opening, and holds it steady. Workers tighten the screws on both sides, checking torque as they go. Once the final screw is in, they hook up the drain tubes and mark them with paint. What gets added on the next line, we'll show you that in the next video.